but my own instincts, and I have access to my pure soul, okay, which lives outside our body. And I'll go into that deeper in another podcast. But basically, I'm here to tell you that for a woman, that you can have access, the strongest access to your own intuition, to your own life, to your own DNA, to change things if you want to. But you have to be willing to sit there and really look at yourself and know when you're making a mistake, when you're not making a mistake, as in like when your body is telling you like, this is right, this is aligned for me, I need to go down this track. And basically that's when you're feeling like excitement and happiness in your body, and and your intuition. Hello, and welcome for being here today. My name is Danielle Baker, and I am here to bring you the Raw Light podcast. Now, I actually recorded this yesterday, and I was like, yes, it's done. And then I was kind of sitting on it, and I thought, was I really my authentic self, or was I just telling people what I really wanted them to hear? And basically, I decided to scrap it and start again. So here I am. So I have decided to start this podcast based on the fact that the work I do and also becoming a mother has completely changed me. And I really don't think that I realized before becoming a mum how tough it actually can be. And I feel like that we try as mums to pretend that we're okay. Okay, we have this hard exterior of like, we're fine, we can do the washing and the cleaning and the dishes and make sure the house is clean, make sure the baby looks tidy, make sure the baby's clean, those types of things. And basically, I thought beforehand, you know what? I've looked after my brother's kids plenty of times. I've lived with them. I lived with my sister-in-law. They lived with me. Aurora was like eight months old, I think it was. And, I just feel like we need a podcast that's very raw and very real about motherhood. And I mean like very, very raw, very real. And also I'm going to add some things in as well. So it's going to be a bit about like my life coaching stuff and how I started that and why I don't classify myself as a coach, how I figured out I'm a born healer and psychic and how that all works in my life, a little bit of conscious parenting, a little bit of everything, a little bit of authentic me. I am very, very sarcastic. I am very, very crude. I swear a lot. That is just who I am at my authentic self. And I really, really want to bring that to you today. So whether you're here to see if you like me or not, doesn't bother me. This is honestly, it is about helping people and giving them a little insight into my life, my world, and what it's actually like to be someone who's so in tuned and have the world basically just be turned up by 1,000 constantly. And then also I'm going to talk about like touching on why I lost some friendships, why I chose to walk away from some friendships, why walking away from unhealthy partners is a positive thing, like all these things that I've been through in my early 20s. And it's funny that I'm starting to do this now because I'm nearly 30 in about, I'm trying to think of the months, but in like 6 months, 6 months in August. And I really just want to bring something super authentic to the world. So let's start off with who I really am, how I knew that I was psychic, how I knew that I was a healer, and so on and so on. So basically it started from when I was born. There was a moment when I was like 2 years old. I was looking at this photo in my parents' kitchen, I think it was, or their bedroom. And I told my mum that this guy, actually let me start one other bit further. My mum was born a psychic healer as well, and she could see and do things from a very, very young age. Also, my dad will never admit this, but I'm pretty sure that he has seen quite a few ghosts and stuff like that as well. So it's on both my sides, and both my sides are Italian. I have a little bit of German in there as well. So it's a long, long line of healers in my family. So on my mum's side, it's like gone down from her great grandma and those types of things, and the same for my dad's side, a couple of my aunties, and then it goes on to like my nonna, and then those that goes on and on and on. So basically, that's how a generational healer starts. And also, so that's in my DNA, right? And then to get a little bit more nitty gritty, when I was born, so basically before this life, I have had access to understand many, many lives before that I've lived, and I have lived many, many lives, and I mean many, many, many lives as a healer, like many. So there's lots and lots to it as well. So basically, when you find out this in your life, or when you've known and can see things from a very young age, it can be quite frightening sharing it with the world, right? So, I mean, like, it's not accepted in society today, because I feel like it's gotten caught up in this big, like, I feel like in the last 5 years, everybody has kind of come out and it's like, I'm spiritual, I'm this, I'm that, and that's great. And it's wonderful that people are doing the work. But to me, I am very, very nitty gritty with stuff because of the many lives that I've lived before this. I have a very, very deep belief of what spirituality means to me. So basically, if I was to go down that route and explain that to you, spirituality to me means spirituality is everything. Okay, it's not just one thing, it's everything. So it's how you treat people, it's how you live your life, it's the earth, it's being kind to someone, it's living your purpose. That is spiritual. Spiritual is you, okay? Spiritual is you as a whole. So basically, when I see spirituality, I don't just see like, I feel like people like to label me as well. Like when I've mentioned I'm a healer and stuff, they're like, oh, what? So you just do like Reiki and things, and, you know, like you're into that hippie stuff. And like there is a very, very dividing place in this world where I feel like spirituality has gotten caught up in a web of what people have created. So basically social media, all those types of things. Spirituality comes with inside you. So it's whatever you feel you need to follow. And I don't follow anything. Let me just be very, very clear on that. I don't follow anything but my own instincts, and I have access to my pure soul, okay, which lives outside our body. And I'll go into that deeper in another podcast. But basically, I'm here to tell you that for a woman, that you can have access, the strongest access to your own intuition, to your own life, to your own DNA, to change things if you want to. But you have to be willing to sit there and really look at yourself and know when you're making a mistake, when you're not making a mistake, as in like when your body is telling you like, this is right, this is aligned for me, I need to go down this track. And basically that's when you're feeling like excitement and happiness in your body, and and your intuition as well, I should add in there, is like when you're slowly, this gentle voice at the back of the voice that's screaming at you at the front. So that gentle voice is a very scary voice to follow, because you're like, well, it's not that loud and it's there. So why do I think that I can follow that? When your ego, which is basically, basically ego is your mind, okay? So your mind, that it just genuinely, if it overworks and you overthink, you get anxiety because you're just overly thinking about things day in, day out, night and day sort of thing. So yeah, it's a crazy kind of concept of spirituality, but that is all spiritual, okay? So everything that I've just mentioned there is spiritual. So I've kind of gone a little bit off topic. So basically, that is like the start of how I kind of knew that I was spiritual, but I could also see angels and ghosts. And when I mean ghosts, I mean like dead people would come and talk to me, okay? That's just what it is. Was it scary at the time? Fuck yes, it was very scary. It continues to sometimes be scary on and off, I'm not going to lie, depending on where I'm at in my life and what I'm doing. But I've gotten to a point in my life where I'm very, very strong, and I put down very, very massive energetic boundaries where I don't even have to think. So if I go stay somewhere, there's massive energy around me that I'm very, very protected. And you can have that protection too. You can have all these things if you're feeling like you are someone that is consciously open and you have all this stuff going on and you don't know how to comprehend it. This is the podcast for you, okay? Basically, I'm just going to drop into anything. So then, thus going on my story a little bit more, let's go to when I hit my early 20s. So in my early 20s, I basically decided to become a life coach. So I spent my whole life kind of like hiding these two sides of me, like pretending that I was just like this partier, this go-getter. And like, in all honesty, you have to start off like this. Like, I was doing the work. I think I met my mentor when I was like 15, okay? I basically just like was at the point of like wanting to commit suicide. I was dating somebody at the time that wasn't healthy for me. I could feel the depth of like my body wanting something more, and I was so confused with life. Now, let me tell you, when I met my mentor, I was a fucking mess. At the age of 15, I literally seeked love from men. That is literally what I did. That is my story. I am here to teach myself and women how important it is to not seek love from men and to seek it from yourself. And I'm telling you now, this is one of the most biggest lessons of my life and my story that I'm about to tell you. So basically, I knew I was spiritual. I knew I could do all this stuff. And it was like really heightened. But at the same time, I genuinely didn't want to admit that that's what I could do. Okay. So I started to be like, I'm a life coach. This is what I'm going to do. So I studied to be a life coach. And then I finished my life coaching thing. And I was like, okay, well, now I can be a life coach. Without realizing that, like, when you're on your spiritual journey, you have several things in your life that like pop up that you like follow. So for example, I was a hairdresser for 11 years, and then I was helping people through hairdressing. I had lots of experiences of helping women through that. And then jumped onto the life coach because I was like, yep, this is what I was going to do. And then I really started to tune into my body, and I had more and more access the more work that I did on myself with my mentor, to the fact that I was actually a healer and born gifted with it, but did not want to admit it to the world because I felt so much shame and guilt. So much shame and guilt. I mean, how can I in this world be somebody that can literally sense people's thoughts, feel their energy, know when they're talking about me, know when they're not being very nice, like I could literally pick up on everything and anything. I would trigger women would literally isolate me. It's a whole thing, okay? I've experienced it all, trust me. So basically, then I discovered I discovered that on a mushroom trip, which I will talk to you about in another episode properly. But all I will say is you do not need substances. I know people talk a lot about substances and trying them and, getting into your head. You can literally do that with meditation. Like, I've done a lot of it with meditation. So you can basically sit in meditation, and the more and more you do it, the less you have to do it. So I could be in meditation for 15 minutes and hit exactly where I need to go without even flinching, basically. So the biggest thing that I would say is it took me a very, very long time, and it's only taken me, so I'm 29 right now, and it has taken me from the age of like 23 to now to really accept that this is my life and this is who I am and this is what I'm doing, and then I can really help people. This is just all I want to do, is help people. And I have to like really push my ego aside. My mind gets on top of me, and it really wants me to tell me that I can't do and be this person. And that is just basically trying to stop me from being my authentic self. So anyway, moving on from there, thus comes to the point where like I lived overseas. I was with a partner for 5 years. When I was 23, I split up with him. I was with him for 5 years. Everyone expected me to marry him. He was a really nice guy, but it just was not going to work for me. I just basically woke up one day and was like, this is not right for me. I do not feel like I can be who I am with him. And it shocked a lot of people. It shocked a lot of people because a lot of people don't leave relationships, okay? There's going to be some really, really, really strong triggering things that I say in my podcasts, and this is one of them. If you feel like someone doesn't align for you, you either need to try and work on it, which I did. I tried very hard to see if I could make it work, and it still didn't work. And I was not going to stay in just a relationship because I felt like I was born for something deeper this lifetime. I knew actually in my heart that I was literally born for something deeper. I was born for like the greatest love that I could find. And I honestly just felt that in my soul and in my body. So basically we split up. And then I spent 5 to 6 years on my own, dating people, learning lots of experiences, but also I was on a really deep spiritual experience. So it was basically my proper awakening was when I was in my 20s. I always knew I was spiritual, but I never really knew how spiritual and the work that I could really do and impact. And I never really had much of a relationship with basically God until I started to really see the impact that I could have on women when I would do work on them. Now, then I also decided to start my Reiki course so that I would be able to be authentically, properly aligned with teaching people. Now, I have done a lot of energy work with my mentor. Like I'm talking a lot. Like I can basically move and see energy very, very well. I can see clusters of people. I can see where they belong, what they do, who they belong with, who they don't belong with, all those sorts of things. So it's a gift. And I also say it's a curse because I can see and feel things so deeply. Sometimes it overwhelms me. Now, starting my Reiki course was like perfect for me. It was a perfect bridge and way to get into things. It was a perfect way for me to really start to slowly come out, even though I really knew who I was. Anyways, basically this year in August, I will be finishing my master's with a really good friend of mine, Jason. And I'm really excited about that because I can start properly teaching the way that I want to teach, but I really wanted to be the authentic version of myself for clients so that I knew that I was giving them 110% of real authentic energy. Now, to me, that is really, really important. I hold my integrity when it comes to healing very, very, very fucking high. I really, really want to be in alignment with what I'm doing. I never want to be fluffy with this stuff. This stuff is not fluffy to me, okay? It is not a Saturday night I chose to get a Reiki course kind of situation. For me, it's very real and authentic, and I feel very, very passionate about that. You can probably hear that in my voice. So, with that said, then I became a mother. I met the love of my life, literally. That story we will go down on another day, but I met the love of my life and I'm now a mother to a beautiful, beautiful girl. And wow, it has changed me again. And this is why it's taken me this long to get this podcast started. So, because I basically wanted to be really authentic with what I was saying. I don't want to be fluffy anymore. I don't want to be this person that says they're going to do something and they're not going to do it. That is just the honest truth. I really wanted to come from a place that I was very open and I knew exactly where I was going and who I want to be. And I can tell you, after having a baby, I can feel the most authentic version of myself that fucking has come through. I don't put up with bullshit. I don't spend time with people that disrespect me, and I sure as hell would not expect you to. Honestly, I am done with the days where it's like fluffy being friendly and kind to everybody. Just because I'm a healer, just because I can see and feel things, doesn't mean I'm always going to be 100% your best friend. I will always be respectful. I will always say hello and I will always be kind, but I do not have to be nice. Let me put that very, very clearly, because I have done that my whole life. I have tried to be nice to everybody, to fit in, to do this, to do that. And honestly, it is draining. I don't have time for it. I've got a very small group of friends and they have been very hand-picked, and I intend to stay that way. A lot of them actually help society. One of my closest mates at the moment is a police officer, and she's fucking incredible. She's actually somebody that I look up to because she helps women and children and keeps people safe. They're the people that I really, really admire. Okay? People that are there for business, people that are there to really, really amplify themselves. I am in it for them. I'm not in this for fame. I could not give a fuck about it, to be honest. I want to help people. I want to make a difference, and I want to tell you my story because I truly believe that what I've learned becoming a mother has really, 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 really changed and impacted my life. I went through postnatal depression. I bottle fed my baby and felt shame. I didn't co-sleep with my daughter. I did, to an extent, sleep train her, and it's been the best thing that we've ever done. And I feel like we're constantly getting shamed as a mother to be a certain way, to do things a certain way, and social media has a massive influence on this. And we're not actually seeing the nitty-gritty shit that goes behind closed doors. The nitty-gritty shit where one of my friends hasn't slept in 8 months. She's tried sleep training and everything, and her baby just develops super quickly, and he's incredible. And she's an absolutely incredible mum. To one of my closest friends who's a single mum, who absolutely dominates that world, but no one sees how challenging it is behind closed doors and how much she is trying to input her little one's life. And for me, I really struggled at the start. I struggled being a mum, which is huge for me, and I feel so much shame and guilt around it. You know, like I became a mother and I thought I knew what I was in for, and I didn't. I was up every 3 hours. Oakley screamed a lot. had no clue why she was screaming. I would feed her and she still was constantly hungry. She was not happy. She actually was not happy until I formula bottle fed her. Yes, I said formula bottle fed, okay? And enough with the shame and guilt for mums around those types of things. Do what's best for you. Do what suits you and your body. Honestly, I have followed the molded for so long that I felt more shame following the mold than I have ever now. I am unapologetic, a mum to a beautiful daughter who, let me tell you, is super independent already, and it's not like I've wanted her to be. That's her nature. She still relies on me so much, and we have such a special bond. Like, my bond with her is so deep. She sleeps really well at night, not so much during the day. And that's totally fine. I have struggled with that though for a very long time. I had a lot of anger come up. I had a lot of grief come up. I had a lot of frustration. Like, let's be honest, as a mother, it's fucking hard. You're awake half the night. You get up, you have coffee. Your child is on you all day. Your husband needs you. How do you push yourself one way? How do you push yourself the other way? It is fucking tough, okay? It's tough at best times. And then I drop into my healing stuff. I don't sleep at night because women come and visit me. They literally look for me for the light, and I have to be there to help them and expand myself. I am not saying that I'm not trying to be a victim with this. I'm just explaining. It can be tough, okay? Some days are tougher than others. We just went through 2 months without sleep. Oakley's teething. She cracked 4 teeth at the same time, okay? I honestly thought I was going to be this mum. And I still feel I'm moving into that, but I was honestly thought I was going to be this mum that basically breastfed the whole time, that half co-slept, half didn't, and also who was constantly there with Oakley, needing to be on top of her. That was just what I thought, okay? And then coming into it, I realised I needed my space at night because it was so much for me. I am such an independent person before this, so having a baby on me is an absolute gift, okay? Let me just say that. Absolute fucking gift. But it is tough. Let's be honest. Until you can your first year is about, I believe, you mentally figuring out how to become a mum, how to become that nurturer, how to be there for your husband, how to do this, how to do that. We wear many hats as a mother, okay? And until you kind of start to ground into that, and I feel like it's only been like now basically, Oakley's 9 months old. And I basically feel like now I am feeling like a new person. I'm feeling like a mama, like an actual mama, and I'm feeling like I've got balance. I feel like I can like cook dinner and she can play with her toys around me and we go outside. So I just made it very clear to myself that I was like, great. I'm going to take Oakley outside in the mornings and evenings when she wakes up and when she goes to bed. And it's been the best thing for us, okay? We've developed something super well for us. She has a shower before she goes to bed. She has a bottle bed. Like, I have a very strict routine at night time. I'm going to be honest. It's very strict and I like it. Me and my husband both like it. It works well for us. Doesn't mean I don't flow during the day though. Oakley basically lays in the dirt all day. and I allow her to be dirty, have fun in her little bath outside. We live on a farm. There's dirt everywhere. And for me, I was like, if you're healthy and you're safe, that's all that matters to me. You're healthy, you're safe. I can see you, you're not falling over. Even if she does fall over, something that I've learned along the way is I want Oakley to feel like she wants her own opinion. So I want Oakley to grow up, and you might say, Danielle, your child is a baby, you're crazy, but I'm sorry, but you're wrong, okay? Your child does understand you from a very, 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 very young age. They might not understand everything, but they are very, very fucking switched on. And I've seen that because I've watched my brother and my sister-in-law grow their little girl up, Aurora, when I lived with them. And they basically started from now until Aurora's like 5 or 6 now. And she is very switched on. And I'm talking like she looks for her own approval. Okay, because how we've brought her up and how I have been taught to bring her up as well. I was playing blocks with her recently, and Aurora goes, "What do you think, honey dear?" And I said to her, "I don't know, my love. What do you think? What do you think it needs? Do you think it needs something else? What are you feeling?" And she goes, "Oh, I feel like it needs this and this, and then I feel like it would be good." And I'm like, perfect. Let's do that then. She looked for herself and thought for herself in her own brain, I need to do this because I feel like that's what it needs, and move on from that. Not from what I'm saying. I don't want Oakley to look for me all the time to go, "Hey mum, is this picture perfect? Do I need to do more?" I don't feel like, for me, that is the way that I want to bring Oakley up. I want to bring her up to look at that photo and go, "Mum, I made this for you. I think it's so beautiful." And I would go, "Oakley, that's amazing. You've done a wonderful job. Do you love it? How do you feel? How does it make you feel?" Because then they question how things make them feel. So then they grow up, right? Then they grow up looking for themselves and going, "This doesn't make me feel right. I shouldn't do this." Or, "I need to do this a little bit more. That would make me feel a bit better." Because it's about them wanting their own approval within themselves. Okay? I'm not saying I'm not going to guide her. I'm not saying if she asks me questions, I'm not going to tell her. I'm just saying she's looking for her own approval. So basically, becoming a mum, I've just had to strip back so much, strip back all the things that I thought I was, and then really put my foot down with the things that I am, and really sticking to the people and the mums that really know me and also really admire me for me. There's no judgment and stuff like that. I don't have time for that these days, guys. Honestly, who's got time for high school shit that still goes on? I honestly don't have time for that, and I don't really put up with it. It really just doesn't suit us in our life anymore. We are here to build a family, to leave a legacy for our children, whatever that is, whether that is farming, whether that is healing, whether it is helping people. I just want my children to look back and go, "Wow, mum and dad made a difference. Maybe I should make a difference," so that we can just live a better life in a better world, so we can leave stuff behind. So basically, I feel like I've done a lot of evolving. I also went through a little bit of postnatal depression. I'm not going to lie. I really, 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 really struggled. Those early days were really, really hard. You're on lack of sleep. I got my period back at 9 weeks, and it was really tough, if I'm honest. Trying to do that and have Oakley was a lot. It was a lot for me. Also because I work so deeply on certain cycles, the moon cycle and everything, I get my period basically based on that. I lost my identity of who I was basically when I gave born to Oakley. I had no fucking clue who I was, and I've only just starting to put a foot in the door of thinking I know who I am, and it's probably going to change again in the next 6 months. I know that when I hit 30, I'm going to be very solidly in my own self and who I am. So yeah, guys, that's basically what this podcast is about. It's a lot about spiritual stuff, becoming a mum, how to navigate it all. If anyone has any questions on anything, please message me. I am going to have some really cool, normal, basic, epic mums on here. And when I mean basic, I mean not some high vibing people that are social media platform amazing humans. I am going to have some because they are some of my closest friends, but I'm also going to have the the mum next door that doesn't brush her hair for 2 weeks, like who understands what it's like to fucking not be able to do this and that, you know? Like, I really want to bring it down to earth. I really want to be raw and real with you guys and have conversations with real and raw people. And then I'm also going to have some really, really epic people who I know are business building, conscious mums doing their thing on here. And there's also going to be just like snippets of like lots of different things of me on this podcast and things. Just talking about everything from like I said, spirituality to motherhood to being in a conscious relationship with my husband and how much work we've had to do on that. That is not a perfect picture and it never will be, but I fucking love it. And I love him like to the ends of the earth. My whole body and soul knows he's my soulmate. And it's challenging. God, is it challenging? Oh my God. It is challenging at the same time being in those relationships because you are each other's mirror. You have nowhere to hide. So if you're trying to hide from something, you cannot hide in a conscious relationship, okay? And I just want to let everybody know that whatever relationship you're in, it doesn't matter. If you're in the perfect one, if you feel like you're working on stuff, it's wonderful to be working on stuff, by the way. Growth is fantastic. It's about how you go about it. And I've learned a lot about how I've gone about like chatting to my husband about things because I've been in relationships on and off and I've dated on and off, but I can tell you now, this has been the most challenging relationship that I've been in such a positive, beautiful way. We are very much starting to align very well together and it's just starting to come together after we've become like getting married. So yeah, anyways, that's a bit of my story. That's who I am. That's what I'm here for. I look forward to bringing you 1 episode a week for now, and then I'm hoping I can do 2 eventually, but we'll see how we go. I just want to say thank you for being here and listening. It really means a lot to me. If you could just like message me, DM me, let me know how you're feeling about the podcast. That would be fantastic. I always appreciate with it. And I also want to leave you with something, a little gift or a little bit of knowledge that I've learned over the years. If you're going through a really hard time right now and it's really tough, remember that it won't last. And I know you're probably thinking, Jesus, Danielle, that was the simplest thing. I've heard that before. Honestly, it doesn't last. You have to choose to move it once you see why you're in it, okay? Let me repeat that. Once you see why you're in this tough patch, and you might think, I didn't create this, Danielle. This is bullshit. Sometimes we need to take a look at ourselves and play a massive part in our own role. Have a look at what you're playing right now in your life and decide if you want to keep playing that role or if you would like to create something else. And it is actually that simple. And I have done that several times. I think my next podcast is going to be on my journey with spirituality and basically how my mental state was when I first started to where it is now and how much work I've actually done on myself to get there. But I also don't want to scare people. And I want to say that day by day, step by step, you can really get there if you really put your mind to it. So yeah, I'm going to leave you with that little bit of wisdom. Thank you so much for being here. Massive love from me to you, and I'll speak to you next week.